Okay, so today I'm going to be going over a basic lighting design. I have it for an assignment, and so we'll be kind of talking about that you know, where to place lights, how to plan the wiring, and then we'll plan the products as well, the specific lighting fixtures that are going to go into the design. So to start, it's important to kind of look at the design. This is an actual place in the gardens. It's called the Wester Garden. And so I've actually been here, and I went and looked yesterday or last night and kind of got a feel for what areas needed lighting. As you can see here, there's the transformer. And we have, some big trees here. Here's the pathway. This is a pergola, and it has a bench underneath it. And so after thinking a little bit, I think I have some ideas on where I'm going to put some lights. Excuse me. And so to begin, I'm just going to start placing lights. So this is the main pathway, and what I was thinking was putting some lights here along the wall, under the capstone of the wall. This is a stone wall right here. And so what I want to do is put just some downward lights on the stone wall to graze it and give it some nice texture. And also kind of light up that there is a path right here. Right here, these two trees are forsythias. And for those who don't know, in the spring they turn a bright yellow, and they stay that way for a couple weeks to a month. And so it would be really pretty at night to highlight, and for the rest of the year it's green, and then it's also deciduous. But I want to put some uplights on these. And so and when making a lighting design excuse me, when making a lighting design, what you want to do is create symbols for the lights that you use. So let's say for these are like little rectangles, right? And let's just say I put a line right in the middle. So what I'm going to do is come up here to my key. Okay. So that's those are my wall lights, my downward facing wall lights. Okay. So far I have 2 of them. I might have more. Let's kind of get through the design. And so here I'm going to do some uplights. And I'm just going to give them some kind of a square with a cross in the middle of them to kind of show the symbol for that. And something else to remember when placing lights is where the transformer is, okay? Because you don't want to be placing lights everywhere and then be like, okay, how am I going to wire it? So you can see this line here through the sidewalk. There's a pipe underneath the sidewalk where we'll run line. And so we can't go under the sidewalk anywhere else. It's only right here. So keeping that in mind, we have to make sure that we plan accordingly, essentially. And so like these 3 lights will be running under here to the transformer, whereas the rest of these will just run back to the transformer a different way. Now looking at the design, I know that there's some big mugo pines over here, along with a bristlecone pine somewhere within the transformer. And so what I want to do is do a light, just one light, probably like right here, and I'll just like put a line through it. And what I want it to do is actually face outwards, to kind of highlight the background. It's not going to be a super bright light, just give it kind of some background light. The other form of background light that I'm going to be giving is this flowering crabapple right here, a really big one. I want to uplight it. So I'm probably going to end up doing probably like 3 of them, maybe. Really light it up. Okay. And when people are sitting at the pergola, they're gonna be having that nice background light and the canopy is going to be lit. There's other trees too, like this is a well, I can think of the Pinus nigra. Can think of the scientific name. Austrian pine, that's what it is. There's an Austrian pine, there's another one over here, and then this crabapple. So there's plenty of canopy around here, so hopefully it gets lit up. And then I was looking, so you have to also think the type of lights that you'll be using. As I said, you'll put them here. Let me put this guy here. And so for the assignment, we're using the site called FX Luminaire, and they're really fancy lighting, and they specialize in different lights, uplights, pathway lights, just a bunch of different kinds. So we'll be using that for the lighting fixtures. And so you know, it's also important to go onto the website and kind of scout out what they have. So to finish it off, I just have to kind of light this area, and I'm also going to light the pergola a little bit. So I'm going to put lights here, and you really can't see that. I'm gonna have to come back later with pen and accent it to make sure that they can see it. But they're pretty much lights that are gonna go on the post, up on the pergola, so it kind of lights down, and they're actually up lights and down lights, so it's like a tube. It should look nice, and it's going to kind of accent that. And then over here, I'm just going to do pathway lights. So I'm going to do one here. What's a good symbol? Oh, I should put the other ones. Okay, so then maybe just a solid circle, just like that. Okay, and these are just pathway lights. Maybe I'll switch them. I'll switch sides so this gets a little bit more light in the middle. Okay. And so you can see from that this is getting lit, this is getting lit, these are being accented, this out here is getting lit. This area will get some light, not a lot. We don't want it to be super bright, because you know, we want to make sure those sitting in the pergola, especially at night, you know, it's really relaxing. It is lit, but it's also, you know, relaxing. It's not super bright. We're gonna have these two lights that are fairly soft, and then this canopy area is going to be lit up as well. And I might add a few more as I make the design and look at the fixtures. I might add more or take some away. And so the next step in this, once I have these, is to actually get the fixtures. So if you see on this site, you go to products on FX Luminaire, and then you just have a bunch of different products. So there's up lights, pathway lights, different things. So for example, the pergola, we have those up and down lights. I'm going to go to down lights. You can see the different products here. I'm going to go to these ones right here. So you can see this is the effect I want on the post of the pergola. I could just do these down lights, but I kind of want up and down. It looks nice. So you come down, there's different information, you go to models, and this is where you would select the model that you want. So I could do zoning and dimming, or just zoning, dimming, and color, or just normal. And then here are the different watts. So this is an integrated LED. And so you have several options. Now if I did like zoning and dimming, I only get the 6 watt. And zoning, dimming, and color, I'd only get the 6 watt. But if I just did the dimming, then I have the options. I can't choose this one. I can only do the 3 LED or 1 LED, and then the default I can also do the 3 LED or 1 LED. So now it's important to note, if you can see, I'll zoom in maybe. each LED corresponds with a certain wattage. So you have 2 watts. If you have one LED, the light uses 2 watts, and then 3 LED is 4.2 watts. And then the color, so let's say that, the color uses 6 watts. And this other number here is VA, that's volt amperage. And you can see that's higher. The best way to explain volt amperage is to think of root beer. When you first pour it, it foams, and that foam doesn't represent how much root beer you actually have. It just, you have to wait for the foam to settle before you can pour more root beer, right? And so the same thing here, volt amperage is pretty much the actual power the light uses when starting up, is the best way to think of it. So to start the light, it needs 2.4 instead of 2. So consistently uses 2, but initially it uses 2.4. And so that's just the volt amperage. You have to keep that in mind. It doesn't make a huge difference, especially with LED lights, but in other circumstances, especially with the AC power instead of DC power. With AC power, it's a lot, it matters a lot more, but with DC power, it's, and with using LED lights and you're not like pushing your transformer to its limit, it doesn't matter too much, but it's good to know. So we have the fixture. Let's just say we want it to dim. We're doing a softer light, especially with 2 of them, and then we'll come over. And we want the up and down, and we have to keep in mind the doubles the wattage and volt amperage because there's 2 lights in there. So that fixture alone would use 4 watts instead of 2. So we just have to keep that in mind when calculating our voltage drop formula when we're doing that. And then you'd select the finish, you know how it looks, let's just say silver. And then this is the code right here for the product. So then coming back onto here, okay, get situated, onto this paper, okay, what you would end up doing is you would say, so for these 2 lights, right, you would put the code that's on there. So like this one, okay, this is the code, and then you would write it down, you'd put how many lights you need, and then you would want to make sure you note the wattage as well. So that would take 4 watts per bulb. And so that's just important to know for when you're calculating voltage drop within the system, as well as, you know, telling the people that are building it, this is the transformer you need because you're using this many watts. So that's pretty much how you do it. Now I'm gonna just continue to design, you know, doing the wiring. I'm gonna go back with pen and kind of highlight the fixtures and put the wiring in. I'm gonna end up using different colors for the wires because there's gonna be 2 different runs here. And so it's just easier to see the runs if it's different color, if I use a different color. And then I'll put the information here, and it should be good. So enjoy. So as you can see from this, I'm kind of drawing out the wiring that I'll be using, and this is important to calculate the length of the wire later. Also here, I need to make sure I remember on the pergola that the wire goes up the pergola. It's not on the ground. So I need to calculate that length of wire when I'm doing the total wiring. So I just need to remember to do that, as well as, you know, making sure every light fixture is connected in some way. is now that I have the products in and I have done my wire, and I'm gonna color the wire really quick, and then label the runs according to the wire on the key. So now, in order to know which transformer to get, we gotta add up all the wattage for each run. And I'll put it here. We're also using a 12 gauge wire just to make it easy. And so for each run, it's gonna be a 12 gauge wire. Okay. And then I'm gonna put the watts on each run. So now if we come here, like we know these light fixtures use 9.1 each. So we're gonna get the calculator. Let's see, and then this fixture is 4. And then this fixture is 4.2. Okay, so for the run number 1, we use 26.4 watts. So we'll go 26.4 watts. Okay, and we'll use that later to do the voltage drop for that run. And then on the second run, it's probably going to be more, but we have what, 9.1, let's see, plus, each of these are 6, so plus 12. We have the 4 right here. And then we have a 4.2. And then we have these 2 down here. Each of them are at 2, so plus 4. And that comes out to 33.3 watts for run number 2. So you can see the difference now. It's a little over, 60? It's about 60 watts. So for the transformer, we could do a 150 watt, or yeah, 150 watt transformer, like voltage. That's what it is. Wattage, yes, 150 wattage. So we have to do the luminaire zoning, dimming, and coloring transformer, because we put those kind of lights in the landscape. If we didn't get that kind of transformer, we got the cheaper transformer, it would still run, but these lights, you paid extra for the colored lights for nothing, and then they won't change color and stuff like that. So it's important to specify which kind of transformer you're using, so that and so the installer doesn't mess up and then they just waste money. See down here the key, it's 1/8 of an inch equals 8 feet. So we're gonna go to the 1/8 on the architect scale right here. And you can see if you come in closer, okay? This, if you line it up, the scale, oops, you can see that at the 0, so this is 2 feet, this is 4 feet, and this is 8 feet, and you can see it lines up, so 8 feet. So we're gonna use that to calculate the total length of the run. So what we want to do is now get the total length of the wire to put here, and that's telling the people how much wire you're going to be using. So 45. So let's just say run 1 is 45. Let's write that down. And then get this in. And this is just the total wire. We're not doing the voltage drop yet. So about 75 feet. So total is 75 plus. So you need about minimum 120 feet of, so we're gonna do down here 12 gauge equals 120 feet. Just like that, okay? And now for the voltage drop, we want to calculate the furthest light on each run. So for run 1, so we're going to get voltage. So I said what, 36 feet times how many watts are used? 26.4. Times 2. Because remember the wire runs and then it comes back, so there's 2 you have to account for. And then since we're using 12 gauge KCs, 7500 KCs, so now you get 36 times 6.4 times 2 divided by 100 equals, we have 0.25 volts per line 1. Once again, that means if the transformer is giving out 15 volts, which it is, at this furthest light, it's only getting 14.75 volts, which is fine because it's within the parameter. Okay, so now we do it again for the second one. So now we go 1, 2, okay. And the furthest light. It's about 45. So then we get 45 feet times the watts, which is 33 0.3 watts. Multiply that by 2, and then we're going to divide that by 7500 because it's 12 gauge. Let's see, okay. 25 times 353 times 2. So I got 0.40 volts. So at this furthest light, if it's giving off 15 volts, this is only getting 14.6 volts, which is still within the parameter. And then at the end of this, you would write, the voltage drop so that they know. That's everything. You have the length of needed wire, you have all the products listed with its watts, you have the wattage per line, you have the wire that you're using, and you should be set. You did the voltage drop, and we have here the calculations, and this is how you do a simple lighting design for a landscape. So thanks for watching.